Hey, what's up everybody? It's Lids, and we're back for some more Gwent, and today we're playing the new Banished seasonal event, which is an alternate game mode in which after choosing our starting hand, every card in our deck gets banished, fundamentally changing how we play the game. So let's go take a look at the deck. So today we'll be playing a Monsters Arachas Swarm deck that focuses on removing a lot of our opponent's tallest cards, because in general it is very common for our opponent to play a bunch of tall units in this event. Then, rather than going tall on our side, we're going to go wide with Arachas Swarm spawning in a bunch of our little drones and then boosting all of those guys so that it is much harder for our opponent to turn around and do the same thing to us. So we'll do things like Scorch, Villentretenmerth, and Geralt Professional, all of which are good for tall removal, as well as Heatwave, and Curse of Corruption, as well as Glorious Hunt. So that gives us tons of tall removal. You can even occasionally throw out a Predatory Dive, though just be mindful this will, of course, destroy your lowest unit as well, so either do this on turn 1, so that it's not going to do anything on your side of the board, or use your leader ability to get a 1-power unit on your side, in which case you're losing something, but it's basically nothing, and you'll just respawn that 1-power unit anyway, because this is also an organic card. And speaking of organic cards and spawning in drones, that is what we are going to do to score points on our side of the board. So every time you play an organic card, you will spawn in a drone, and spawn in more drones with your leader ability as well directly. And then you can do things like, in particular, combination of Arachas Nest and or a spontaneous evolution on one of those drones to give you a ton of those little guys on the board. And once you've done that, you can use things like Arachas Behemoth to boost them up. Similarly, Zoltan Scoundrel, Talisman, or even range row Yennefer. And then you could use a Kikimore Warrior to convert a 1-power drone into a 3-power Kikimore Warrior. Just want to do this before you use any of those boosting cards, otherwise you're going to turn a 3 or possibly even more power boosted drone into just a 3-power Kikimore Warrior, and at that point it's at best neutral, possibly even negative points. So if you're going to do this, just do it early. That's about it. So it is mostly based around countering our opponent's biggest cards, and then putting in a bunch of small units on our side of the board that we can easily boost up. We do also have, as a little finisher as well, Ozzrel, who, assuming our opponent does have a really high base power unit, we can then play this in the melee row to consume it once it's in our opponent's graveyard and get a ton of boosts on Ozzrel. Or, you know, always have the option of doing it range row and consuming one of your own units in your graveyard, although, as we were saying, we don't have much in the way of high base power cards on our side of the board. But that's really all there is to it. So let's go see it in action. Alright, so going up against Nilfgaard here. And we'll go first. Okay, so we definitely want a lot of tall removal against Nilfgaard. We have some. Curse of Corruption. And Heatwave, although they have potentially Tibor, which is immune, so this won't work on Tibor. We need to be a little bit careful of that. We probably want to dump you. Don't love the Nightwraith. Okay, that gives us a lot of wide support now, a whole lot of wide support. In fact, probably more than we need right now, so let's dump you. Okay, that's probably better. More balance. And we might even just start with the Arachas Nest plus Magic Lamp and leave it at just that for round 1. We'll go Sheilard, which is not that effective. We don't have very high base power cards. I think we will pass here. And if they want to win round 1, they're going to have to go a card down to do it. Alright, it's really weird. I mean, that only just barely worked. Alright, so now they are a card down, which would normally mean you do not want to play in round 2, but alas, Gwent is no longer a balanced game, and the concept of dry passing no longer exists. So, despite it being the obvious correct play here, they will not do it. So, we would like, probably, at least do a little bit of wide setup here. Leader ability into Spontaneous Evolution, in all likelihood. That way we've already passed them, tempo-wise. Alright, loaded weapons. An odd one. Not that effective. Okay, now I want to be a little bit careful about how much wide support we go into here, because it's great in a long round, but if we get stuck in round 3 with a short round and the wide support finishers like Bone Talisman, but nothing to help set it up, then we could be in a lot of trouble. Just want to be careful we don't get stuck like that. But, like, you know, round 3 with only stuff that removes does not score any points, so we could actually still lose, even if we have card advantage even. So I think we can still go Arachas Behemoth here, but we want to be a little bit careful. 1, 2, 3, 4... This adds 3, so that's 7 in a row. You can fit 9, so we'll go for 1 more here. I want to be careful we don't... Like, obviously, using even more leader ability charges is worth more points here, but I want to make sure that we still have units with the Rocket Swarm for round 3 in case we do find ourselves getting stuck with cards like these. Hey, shoot, stay off. They'll go for... They're going Resilience? Now they're going Boost. Okay. So, could get rid of you. Probably will get rid of you. Here we go. This is the one that has the most potential to backfire on us, because this does not look at base power. It looks at how much boost you've received as well, and we do not have a lot of high base power cards, but we can potentially get some somewhat highly boosted. So this is probably our most disposable one here. Also, this can hit Tibor, whereas this cannot, so we want to make sure we're saving this just in case we do break out of Tibor. Now we can use Chimera, which is a card I'd kind of like to use, since this was what got hit by Tibor, or rather got hit by Sheilard in round 1. If we just need a little bit to keep on playing this round, then that's probably what I'd like to do it with. Day is kind of big. They are doing a good job of spreading around their power. This gives us, what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 points, which should be just barely enough. I think we probably do that. Now we can still go Leader Ability, Spontaneous Evolution, Zoltan in round 3. But we want to be careful we don't get stuck with just one of those things, otherwise they're going to be pretty weak. But if they're going all in on this round, then we just need something that scores points, which, again, that's why I want to make sure you don't get stuck with just these. Or if you do, you at least have a leader ability charge. They're going to go with their leader ability, which is not that valuable on the Bone Talisman. Probably would have been Zoltan Melee Rare would have been best. He goes Muzzle. We don't have anything that's that big, so that's not that much of a concern. We probably are about to Bone Talisman, just to see how much this is worth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it's really worth 8, because it spawns in one other card as well, which means we're slightly short. We go for a leader ability charge. We want to make sure we have at least one for round 3. I mean, otherwise, we could. 9-point Heatwave for Dea is still ties us. We have, what do we say? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 with leader ability charge. Makes this double all those, or +1 on all those. 8 points, spawn in 1. Either way, it's 9 points. Well, actually, this is slightly better. This is 9 points, and then here is our 10. Pass them. Now we'd probably like to use Zoltan. That is not that valuable. Not at this point. Let's use Zoltan here. This is worth a lot, but if it were going to get saved for round 3, it would not be very valuable. It's one of a few things we have left that can score points. We need to be mindful of that. But it looks like they may be about to play absolutely everything this round and just hope they can 2-0 us, or at least get us to the point where whatever card we have left in round 3 doesn't score anything. That's why our leader ability is important. No, they'll pass. Okay. Okay, then. So we'll win round 2 with card advantage going into round 3. But I did kind of want round 2 to go 1 turn longer because we had that Bone Talisman, which is now not going to be that valuable. Yes, we can do this. helps us get a little bit wider, so it's still not terrible. We have one more leader ability charge. I'm going to wait on that just in case. Alright, now let's go Sergeant. Is going to get removed by Glorious Hunt. That's the highest base power. I mean, this does not pay attention to, or does not consider who to remove based on how many boosts you received. This has received a lot of boosts, but it already had the highest base power. So either we're removing a 10 here, or they play something even bigger on their next turn, and it's worth even more. So I think we are still going to wait this one out. And do this first. I think that is still the best play here. So at worst, this should be 10-point play. I don't know what that last card was, but apparently it wasn't going to work for them. Yes, we could Glorious Hunt here, but we don't even need to. We already have the win. Alright, so going up against Monsters here. And we'll go first. Alright, so we do not have a lot of point scoring stuff here outside of drones plus Chimera, which is okay, but not amazing. I think we might dump you. And, okay. Well, I mean, then again, Yennefer does synergize well with all these guys, and we have a lot of stuff to set up the Kikimore Warrior as well. And, I mean, at least for their leader ability, Curse of Corruption could be decent, but this is actually our only toll removal card right now, which is a little bit surprising. But, oh, and Red Haze, I suppose. We'll dump it and get Scorch. Okay, some more toll removal then. Okay, so why don't we start, let's see. Let's start with maybe the Nightwraith. And go Stratagem as well. We might even pass immediately after this. Okay, let's see. So they have not caught up to us yet. They, for what it's worth, I mean, the larvae work much better in a long round. So if we try to play a long round, they're going to eventually beat us. So we can pass here, and because we're not drawing cards in between rounds, that means they're going to go cards down for the rest of the match, which is kind of nice. If they have more Endrega larvae, then that means that in a future round, they could still have a decent long round setup. But if this is their only Endrega larva, then that's not that bad. I mean, Thrive, I suppose nowadays, is not bad in either short or long rounds, so it's not necessarily the safest approach either way. Either way, I think we're just rely on this lamp gen, though, to be our little advantage here. Okay, because, yeah, that does force them to play something big with Goliath. Okay, so they'll win round one. Now the question is, do they play at all in a round two? Because they did not draw any cards here, so they are a card down. They do. That's bold. Okay, so that is now Thrive. I think we try to still play this small here for the time being. And I think that means we try to focus on rat stuff. So we'd like to be focusing on drones for Chimera and Chimera number 2. We have a lot of drones set up here. I mean, there's something to be said for we could run out of board space here somewhat quickly if we are to go a full-length round with all this stuff. So I'm going to start with Nightwraith, but might not be the absolute end of the world if we have to go a little bit further here. Alright, but they're seemingly going for a long round here. Actually, somewhat similar setup. We're both starting small. And they're going to power up by playing high base power cards, whereas we're going to power up by using things like Chimera and Yennefer, but something to be said for going a little bit off in a direction we would not usually go here, especially because this is not really the type of deck that this deck is designed to counter. We're usually going up against tall-centric decks. So if we're patient, we might eventually have decent targets for Curse of Corruption and Scorch, but we could play one of those a little bit earlier and get rid of this, but that does still feel like a little bit overkill right now. What if we go kind of like Kikimore Warrior? Let's do that. Not a big commitment, but it does have some synergies with the rats and or the Nightwraith itself. Alright, so that's the kind of card we're looking to answer with stuff like Scorch and or Curse of Corruption. So it does still boost their Thrive. So just removing it is still not perfect. But I think it might be... If we do this, I think we still will. We are not yet in the lead, so we'd like to... If we do this, we'd spawn in 2 more rats, which I think actually makes this the highest point play here. Alright, now they're going wide again. Now they're being more patient. I mean, this, at this point, looks like they're pretty much going all in this round for the 2-0. I mean, that's what Gwent has become. So, can't say I'm terribly surprised, even if it was fundamentally doesn't make a lot of sense for them to do so, but okay, so the tricky thing is, again, usually our advantage comes from us having way more use than our opponent, but they are going surprisingly wide here, which makes it a little bit trickier. I mean, there's some potential for Thrive to get a whole bunch of cards on the same number, so Scorch could be an amazing finisher for us, so I think we do save that. The moment, though, there's also some risk that we end up having at least 1 unit in and around the same number. So we are going to need to start going in the drone direction pretty soon here, unfortunately, I think. Why don't we go... We'll do an Arachas Nest. We'll continue to do this as well. Let's... 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. We can do this. I'm just trying to optimize around Chimera, because we might need to do one of those pretty soon. And eventually, it might even make sense to go Kikimore Warrior and have that be the target of the Chimera. The longer we wait, the more likely that would be the case. Okay, so almost really nice here. If they trigger Thrive one more time and get a bunch of cards on 7, then suddenly Scorch becomes really intriguing. It did also put up a lot of points, though, so it's going to be tough for us to catch them pacing-wise here. Just want to be careful that we don't get the Chimera up to the point where that's going to suddenly become a Scorch target as well. It does make it a little bit tricky here. I mean, I think at the very least we're probably going to do this. Then go for a Chimera on some drones, perhaps. That gets you up to 6. It would be best if we did this first. I mean, as I was saying, I think they're going pretty aggressively here. Don't necessarily want to fill this entire row. Because yes, it is worth more points if we fill up the row entirely, yes, but do want to make sure we have at least something left in round 3 if it does come to that. Obviously, we didn't win round 1, so we do need to have something to play in round 3. Okay, that's... Oh. So close. It's just gonna get up to 6. Which is... Now you're a problem. So if we could get rid of you, then be great. I mean, then, as we were saying, it would turn into us losing Chimera, I suppose. But eventually, like, you'll go up to 8, which we could still remove with Scorch here. I mean, now we do definitely have more units than our opponents, so starting to look better for things like Yennefer, which previously was not looking that good because they had roughly the same amount of units that we had. So I think we'll still do this. And we want this to be one of the last things we do because anything that we consume with the Kikimore Warrior is going to remove the boost from these units and just replace it with another 3-point unit, so it's not really helpful anymore. I think we can... Let's go... do this. I'm gonna go other Chimera. Actually, Chimera needs to go here. We're gonna run out of time here. Oh, there we go. Perfect. Didn't want to flood this row. If you completely fill the melee row, or if you completely fill the row with the Kikimore Warrior, it does not allow you to spawn in the extra copy of it. Which is why I originally wanted to make sure we have enough space for Yennefer, yes. But otherwise... Okay, hold on. No, it's still not gonna line up. It's so close. So close. Oh, wait. Hold on. No, it's still not going to line up well. Is it? Right now it's 9. It removes you. Did you get any? You did not have room for any of those Gurnicor's fruits, did you? That was silly, because this is not an engine. But you're going to go up to 10. Which, I mean, I guess that still means that Scorch is fine to wait. Just would have loved to actually have some of these things line up on the same number here. So close, but haven't quite been able to make that work. But now let's go. We'll do this. And I think this is going to end up being the Yen turn. We're going to finish with Scorch, and then round 3 is going to be just Arachas Nest and nothing else. And I'm not sure if that's going to be enough, but we're going to see. We do have a lot more units than them. They have a reasonable amount, but we definitely have more than them. Suppose case could have been made for using that last charge there as well. We're tied right now, so obviously that would have given us the lead if we had done that. But I imagine they're going to play this, whatever it might be. And we're going to Scorch them. Okay, that Witch Apprentice shouldn't be a huge factor here. I think we have this. I think this is enough. It's going to be close. But we do that. And now they're going to still get the 2-point boost from you, which gets you up to 79. But you're out of cards, so you won't be able to play anything. Nor will you be able to play anything in round 3, so I think we're good here. Right? We still win round 2. They cannot do anything in round 3, and we still saved our Arachas Nest. So that's why we could have technically used one other Arachas Swarm charge in round 2 just to be absolutely certain, but either way, we will have enough firepower to get the job done here. Because as I said, they went all in round 2, but we had what we needed to have to still fend off that bleed attempt, and they had nothing to compete at all in round 3. So there's a look at a Monsters Arachas Swarm deck for the new Banished seasonal event. If you liked the video, then make sure to like and subscribe button and leave a comment down below. Let me know which other cards, archetypes, and factions we should experiment with next. And take a look at our Banished playlist to see previous decks we've used in this event as well. Thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you next time.